Hi everyone. Today we're here with Hope Struess. She's one of the instructors for the welding program here at Cochise College.
Hi.
And so the welding program here has an associate's and it also has multiple certificates that you can get. Can you give us a short description about the program, please?
Yeah, so as Judy said, we do have an associate's degree and certificates that could work into the program. In the way it's built is kind of in a stepwise motion. If you were interested in taking welding, you can take a couple of classes, work up to a certificate, and then maybe you find out you really love welding and you can continue on in that path and getting certificates, and they build into the degree. So it's built upon itself. So when I took classes, I really liked it, and by the time I was ready to go for the degree, I almost had the degree already because it worked up through all the certificates.
Oh, that's great. And so what are the different types of welds that you learn here?
So different types of welding that you can possibly do here is really diverse. There's aerospace, there's structural, there's pipeline, and just general fabrication. When I came to class, I didn't know what that even meant. Pipeline is something where you're getting petroleum from here to there, welding out in the field on pipe. Structural is more thinking big buildings that you're putting up. Aerospace has a lot more finesse to it. There's really clean type of welding. You have to be really precise, and that would be like TIG welding. So we offer SMAW, GTAW, GMAW, which is MIG. A lot of people know MIG. They have that in their dad's garage.
Okay.
And that's what general fabrication would be as well. You do with MIG probably.
Okay, great. And so you kind of touched on it, but could you go a little more in depth about what types of jobs you can get after finishing at Cochise?
So yeah, the types of jobs once you finish Cochise, because it's kind of done like a trade school. You come in here and you can get an associate's degree or you can get a certificate. But as you're going through the program and you get those certificates, there's what's called certifications. And a certification is a real life test that we take here, a hands-on test. We do it to a code book through the American Welding Society. They test it, and if it meets code standard, they have what's called, American Welding Society gives them a piece of paper saying that they have certification, and from there you can go out, get your foot in the door to get a job. And types of jobs would be, like I said, on the pipeline and working on the pipeline, or structural, putting up those buildings if that's what you like, or if you want to weld on thin materials for aerospace. So the company I worked in Tucson, they built non-lethal grenade launchers and some things that would go not quite to space, but really high up in the sky, and those thin materials, and that's what's considered aerospace.
Perfect. So you can learn here at Cochise College and you can get a job anywhere in the country with that certification.
Now, certification doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the job, but it does get your foot in the door. It shows that you can actually weld to a certain standard.
Okay.
And potential employers are going to look at that and say, hey, this student was able to pass this test, and more likely than not, it puts their foot in the door.
A little resume boost.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Perfect. And so how long do the programs usually take?
So it depends on what you're going for. If you are going for a certificate, that could take 2 semesters is the minimum. So like a fall and a spring semester is the smallest you could do, but it goes up to about 2 years if you're going for the full degree and you follow the map that Cochise put together.
Okay, perfect. And what are the costs?
So costs, and let me check this. We had to do a rundown on it and gather all the costs together. It could be, if you're going for the certificate, from $2,000 to $2,500, and if you're going for the full degree, it's up to $7,000 to $7,500. But like I said, it's a stepwise motion. So let's say you went past the certificate, that $2,000 you already spent on the certificate is added towards the degree. So that's off your $7,000 that you're spending for the degree, or the $7,500 you're spending for the degree. So you would only have 4 or 5 left to go to spend. So it's really pretty cost effective,
Yeah,
especially comparatively to some trade schools even.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then here at Cochise College, we also have scholarships that can help knock off some of that price.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even the American Welding Society puts together scholarships that for welding. That when I went through school, I applied for those scholarships, and that really helped out to even pay for more costs than what I had to out of pocket.
Oh, that's really great. Yeah. What are some exciting things about your program?
Well, when I first came here and I started the program, the one thing I wanted to do was the TIG welding, because I love how beautiful it is. It takes a lot of finesse, a lot of precision. So I would say that's a huge exciting thing about the program. But overall, for somebody that likes to work with their hands or be doing something all the time, I would say that's the most exciting thing. There's 90% or maybe 80%, it's you're doing something. The other 20%, you're studying and doing the bookwork and stuff like that. So really, if you gotta get up and do stuff all the time, it's great.
Great. And you guys sometimes have like guests come and teach you guys specific things, correct?
So actually a couple of weeks ago, we were able to, or Scott, one of the other instructors, Scott Brown, brought in a welder that actually took the program 16 years ago and has been welding on the pipeline ever since. He came back and shared with us what he learned all these years and showed us what they're doing out in the industry right now.
That's
So
great.
that was really, really neat.
Yeah. And so what time of the day do you usually have classes?
So typically we like to center it around the working people, whether it's either even high schoolers or the generation that's out working for their family right now. So we try to do later classes, at least for the basic class, so that when somebody that's working, they can come in and they work their full day, and then later at night is when the class is. So our classes typically run from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night, and all the way through the day, whether it starts at 12 o'clock or 2:40 or 5 o'clock or 7:40 is our latest class.
Okay, perfect. So don't worry, it's not an 8-hour class from 12 to 8. It's
No,
just
it's typically a 2-hour, 20-minute class, and there's quite a few options. We try to make it as diverse as we can, but also trying to help out and make it the best class time for the majority of people that need it at a certain time.
So as being an instructor now for Cochise and also being a past student, what do you think is a very valuable thing about Cochise program?
The most valuable, I would say, for Cochise College program was, for me, it was the instructors. I came in and it was, when I first came here, I didn't know that I really wanted to do it. I just wanted to see what it was all about. My dad had taught me some welding and I was doing it on the side. But I came in here and the instructors, they really helped you out and they gave you the opportunity to just go as far as you possibly wanted to.
Oh, that's great.
And so I got some experience, went through the program, and then turned around and I can be an instructor. So it worked out really well.
That's great. And so we saw on the sign out in the lab that there is a welding competition for the high schoolers. So probably with COVID, that's not happening right now.
Yeah, this was the first year that they canceled it. It was really sad because when I was a high schooler, I took that competition, or went to it, and that was one of the coolest things. That's what got me hooked in this program. Is I went to the high school competition, and they have really great prizes, first of all, but then there's just high schools from all over that come, and you get to compete with them. Doing it. So hopefully next year we'll be able to do it. It's always in the spring.
And now we're going to go ahead and go into the lab where we're going to see some of the fun equipment they have here.
Alright, so what Zach's doing is on 10-inch pipe. We do certifications in the 6G position, typically on this 6-inch pipe here, but we what it's like to work different types of pipeline. Alright, so this is Hunter. He's doing the stick welding class in Structural D11. Take a quick peek. Alright, so quick peek at some more structural welding. This one's with flux core.